Welcome everybody. This is Biz. I wanted to talk about the upcoming 2019 football season. And nothing gets me more excited about football than looking at photos of football from the 1970s. As you can see there, we have a Jack Lambert trying to rip off, looks like Lydell Mitchell's head. Ernie Holmes on the bottom there, Dwight White behind him. You got the Vikings with their 0-degree weather at the old Metropolitan Stadium. And of course, what would 1970s football be without one of my favorite players of all time? That guy right there, the Snake, Ken Stabler. Spent my youth going to Raider games, watching Ken Stabler pull out one win after another and lead the Raiders to another win. Alright. So what do we have going on this year? First of all, for those of you that don't know me very well, I go by Biz. I handicap all sports: football, baseball, basketball, hockey. If you could bet on it, I'm trying to beat it. I also love horse racing. I absolutely love it. I don't spend as much time on it as I used to, but it's still one of my favorite things to do. If you go to the RX forum, which is where I've spent many years, you could find some specific threads that I started in the horse racing forum where we made a lot of money. You could do a search, do Biz Saratoga 87. That was a Friday afternoon at the spa. I put out a pick 4 ticket. Cost $48. It paid about $6,900. Some pick 3s included in there. Paid $600-700. We had a 23-1 shot win by a nostril on the turf. And all those picks were posted pre-race. Nothing red boarded. Everything was posted pre-race, so anybody could have read that thread and played right along with me. The Biz Travers Day 2017, that was another nice payout. We hit a nice trifecta where our key horse Gunnavera was 25-1. He hit the board, keyed some very nice payouts. Again, that was all posted pre-race. Anybody could have played along. You could do a search of that title, Biz Travers Day 2017. And also, I also put out a Breeders' Cup report every year, last few years. In 2017, we had a great day. Caledonia Road was our pick of the day. Mike Smith going off at 17-1. Ridiculous. And that horse paid $38 or $36. And we also hit a numerous amount of pick 3s that were paying $600-700. Hit the late pick 4, which paid $1,200, $1,300 off the top of my head. So you could go check those threads out if you want to get a little idea of what I do for horse racing. I have a daily distribution list. That's my email address. That's where I give out my daily plays. If you're interested, drop me a line. How do I get my plays? I use Bet Labs and Killer Sports. I like to design, I hate the word systems. I like to call them situational plays because systems kind of connote some kind of magical, mystical kind of bullshit. Basically, these are just situations that teams perform in a certain way over and over and over again. And I'll show you a few examples of what I do with that. I don't do this alone. I have a couple helpers. You see Stewie there on the left. He's in the midst of handicapping. He likes to get up on the MacBook and start typing away, and there he's looking at you saying hello. And the bottom right is my other dog, Biz, Rosie. I call her Biz. That's where I got the name from. Those are my two constant companions. But Stewie does a lot of the legwork for me, as you see there. So couldn't do this without them. What do I plan on doing this week or this year? I'm going to make some weekly videos for the NFL and the NCAA football. Each week I'll put in one video for each sport. On the videos, I'm going to have my selections. I have just a shit ton of systems that I use. I went through them. I cut out only the very best ones that I feel are my best ones. Otherwise, I just have so many. It's a lot of plays, and a lot of guys don't want as many plays. We're going to have plenty of selections, but I really cut down my systems this year. As I say there, they'll be based on systems and game analysis also. Sometimes I will just write up a game that has nothing to do with systems, but I'll really like a game. I'll write it up. I'll show you some examples of that. Each week, we're going to update the record. I mean, nothing to hide. Every play will be posted on a video. Every play will be recorded. And at the beginning of the video for the following week, we're going to update our record. We're going to know exactly how we're doing. On these videos, I'm going to have screenshots of data, screenshots of results, screenshots of whatever. I'm not going to use a webcam. First of all, I'm kind of new to using Keynote, and I don't want to figure out how to do webcam and cute little boxes with a screenshot to the right. And nobody wants to stand there and look at me on a webcam. Let's face it. I mean, I'm a good-looking guy, but nobody wants to watch me talk into a camera. Okay, I see a lot of people get on the web and they think they're understudies for Jim Rome, and they've got their headphones, and they've got their microphone, and they're looking in the camera, and they're just like going on and on and on and on. It's like, dude, I just want to know who you like today. So I'm just going to have screenshots. I will be doing a voiceover. I feel it's the best way to show you the place. It's just for you to look at the data, have something tangible to look at as I speak about it. Don't worry about the formatting. It's not going to be the prettiest presentation. Just worry about the data. Just worry about the results. I'm not going to worry about how pretty this all looks. Only one thing matters, and that's wins and losses. And hopefully we have a whole lot more wins and losses this year. Here's an example of last year's Week 17. I didn't have a system play on this game, but this was a game I really, really liked. It's just an example of just throwing out a game that I liked without any kind of data or anything. And basically, this was Week 17 last year. The Bills at home against the Dolphins, where the Bills were laying 5 points. Miami had just seen their season end the week before. They were at home to Jacksonville. They needed to win to stay in playoff contention. They suffered a really shitty loss at home. And so for Week 17, the last game of the season, with their playoff hopes done, they go to Buffalo, cold weather, against a team that has really played well against them. As you see my notes there, travel in the cold, on, and we did actually have Miami the week that they did cover against Buffalo, but it was just a really bad spot for Miami. And I said I think Buffalo rolls by double digits, and that's exactly what they did. You see, it was tied at the half, 14-14, and then in the second half, the Dolphins kind of looked at each other and said, what the fuck are we doing here? Let's just let the clock run out and go home and go to a beach somewhere. As you see, Buffalo stomped them in the second half, 28-3, final 42-17. So that's just one brief example of a game that I just write up based on how I look at a game. The majority of my plays will be based on something like this. Okay, here is one of my systems I use in Bet Labs, or situational plays. And very simply, what I'll do is in the description of the system, I'll put a brief description of what it actually is. I won't be overly specific because I don't want a lot of people grabbing these systems and using them on their own stuff. So I will put a brief description. So for instance, this is NCAA football. Here's a road dog, a pretty good road dog. Their winning percentage is 45-70. Not a bad team, up to a pretty good team. They're getting over a field goal. Last week they covered as a home favorite. And they're playing a team that's not rested, that's not off of a bye. And as you can see here, the record since 2010. I like to go back to 2010 most of the time. It's a nice chunk of time frame. You can see the system has won every single year. Last year was a little flat, 9-7, but still a winning year. You see 12-5, 13-2, on and on. You can read the numbers. This is obviously a situation that we're going to play on this dog every time this season. That's just an example of a Bet Lab system. Here's an example coming up here of one I use on the Killer Sports website. And I really, really like this system. What it is, it's a home dog that's a bad defensive team, and their last couple games went over. Very, very simple. The fewer filters you have, the better. You see a nice, healthy sample size there of around 170-something plays. And when we say fade, we're playing against that team. So when you look down at the ATS number right there, the against the spread, it says 54, 112, and 4. Since we're playing against this team, This has produced 112 wins and 54 losses because we're playing against, okay? And as you could see in the last couple, there's the record right here in green. For the last 6 years, it's been phenomenal. 16-9, 19-2. You guys could read the numbers there. 2012, a little flat, but still a win. The only losing year was 2011. That's a great line of past performance. Nice, big sample size. Last several years, profitable. The games underneath, that's the 2017 season, as you can see. You can see the ATS column right below the 54 in the total box. All those L's. This was a 19-2 year for this system. All of these L's. Look at all the L's. And not one time did this team win straight up. They lost every game. So that's an example of a killer sports system. Here is the 2018 season. You see under the ATS a string of L's. They do win sometimes. Nothing is perfect. We're not going to win every game, but it just shows you how solid that this system is. Okay, so those are a couple of previous years actual game by game, and you saw the numbers for the entire system. Next here I have an example of a game where I did a write-up with some systems. Now, in the NFL playoffs, there are fewer games, and I tend to write some longer pieces for these games. Regular season, 1 to 17, 15 games a week. I don't have time to be doing books on games. I get right to the point on those games, and it's very brief. Well, in the NFL playoffs, when you have 4 games on a weekend, I can really dive into these games and break them down. As you see, this one was from 2 years ago when Tennessee went to New England. You could read the top here as I write about the defense and the offense and on and on. But what I really love about this write-up was at the last 2 paragraphs, I noticed something very interesting about the Patriots, and that's since 2007, you see down here, in the division round, they play the over a lot, and they cover a lot, and they score a lot. You can see the numbers right down there that I wrote. And then, in addition to their specific team tendencies, they also fit a league-wide system that was really solid. And you can see the numbers there. It has to do with a low turnover team playing a team that does not force turnovers, which kind of go hand in hand. And you see the numbers at 24-8 since 2010. It was 7-3 that year. You see the home favorite breakdown. In New England, it triggered it 5 times, and they were 4-1 with each game going over. So they have a tendency to go over in this situation. Team total goes over, and when they trigger this system, the game also goes over. So I really liked the over 48. We took that for a unit. We laid the points with New England, which I don't do very often, that many, but we did, and we liked the team total. So we put 3 units in that game. That was my predicted score. The score ended 35-14. We got a late touchdown. I think by Tennessee scored late to get it over for the game, but you see New England jumped on them in the second quarter and never really looked back. So that's an example of a more extended write-up when playoff time comes. Here's one that same year in college. This was the championship game in Georgia-Bama, the one where Tua came in at the half when Jalen Hurts had a horrible first half, and was his coming out party actually, and he threw that long touchdown on 3rd and 17 in overtime to win the game. You guys could read that. I'm not going to go over it real quick, but I basically thought Georgia would actually win the game that night, 23-17, and as you see, they almost did until Tua came in and was just phenomenal. That was just a phenomenal performance. Tough beat on the money line, but we did cover the points. I think it was 4.5 that night. Again, that's just an example of a game. I didn't have any systems for that game. It's just a game. One of the guys that's on my list, my distribution list, asked me, "Hey, Biz, what do you think of this game?" And I went ahead and wrote it up, and that's what we came up with. So tough money line loss, but we did get the win and get the cover and the win, getting the points. All right, so what are we going to do this year? What are the keys to success? You need to be properly funded, okay, and bankroll management. They go hand in hand. We're going to have a lot of plays this year. You need to be funded. You need to have the right bankroll management. So what the hell does that mean? Everybody says it. If you want to play $100 a game, you need about $5,000 in your roll, 2% of your bankroll, because we're going to be playing lots of games. You need to be able to withstand the ups and downs of the season. Nobody wins every game. Nobody wins every week. These guys that are sending you emails about going 19-1 and 20-0 and they never lose are full of crap. Everybody loses. Everybody has losing weeks. So you got to be properly funded and you got to manage your bankroll, which is making sure you have the right amount per play in relationship to your bankroll. All right. You got to have a positive attitude. As I said, we're going to lose games. We're going to have losing weeks, but overall we're going to win. You got to let those turnovers that lose a spread roll off your back, the fumble, the interception, the fourth down miss, the other team that went down the field in 2 minutes and converted 3 fourth downs and got the win as the gun went off and you lose and it's a 2-unit play. Man, you just got to move on. You got to stay positive. You got to stay the course. You got to believe in what you do, believe in how we do things, and just move on. And if you do that, if you play all the games, if you adjust your unit size properly, if you keep a positive attitude, if you just stay the course, if you just do what we do, we're going to win. We will win, okay? So I've had a weekly distribution list, or daily actually, for years. I've had some guys that have been with me from the beginning, and people have asked me, so why don't you keep doing that? Why are you going to make a weekly video? Why don't you just keep doing your distribution list? And the biggest reason is it's really hard to get everything I want across in an email. Okay, I don't want to type out tons and tons and tons of stuff on an email. To me, it's much easier for me to make a video, show the data, and talk about the games. And I think it makes a lot more sense to everybody as to why we make a play, as opposed to just the distribution list that I send out. What I would do is I would send out a play. I would send out the record of the system we were using and the record of it this year, which everybody liked. But I just kind of felt it lacked a little depth as to what we're actually doing for these plays. And so what I want to do is I just want to make a weekly video going over the plays, showing you the data, showing you why we're going to make the plays, keep an updated record, and that is the biggest reason I want to do that. The second reason I want to do that is I want to make this available to as many people as possible. Okay, basically I'm flying this plane. I'm the pilot. I got a whole lot of seats in there, and right now with my distribution list I have a lot of people, but it's not filled up. I want to fill up my plane. I'm flying it. It's a really nice plane. As you can see, it's really decked out. There's a bar there. I hope those people have a little alcohol in that orange juice. They should. I mean, look at this guy. He's just straight kicking it. He's got a nice caramel coffee keg by his left hand, drinking some coffee, a little leather recliner. We also have some women that like to gamble. She's got look at that, ciabatta bread, prime rib, caramelized onion. She's a glass of wine. I mean, Jesus. What you won't find on my plane is this guy. First of all, he's eating sliced tomatoes with a knife and a fork, and he looks way too fucking happy about it. So he won't be on the plane. His shirt, it looks like he got that at a sale at the Gap. No one's wearing that shirt on the plane. You'll be kicked off. You won't even be allowed to enter. Those glasses have got to go. The headphones with a wire hanging down. Dude, you need to get some wireless headphones. And lastly, he's got a Canon camera sitting there on the ledge there. And there will be no picture taking on the plane. All right, what happens on the plane stays on the plane. So this dude's gone. This guy, you will not see him on the plane. But I want to see all of you, because where the plane lands will be Maui. That is a beautiful beach in Wailea, where my wife and I go almost every year. God, you have to have an end game. You don't do this every day, every week, and grind without having some type of reward. You got to reward yourself for all of the work you put in. And what I like to do every year is my wife and I hop on a plane. She likes to fly first class. I got a quick story about that. And we land in Maui, and we stay there for 12 days, and we stay in a condo, and we go to this beach damn near every freaking day. And it's a great way to recharge and retool and just relax and enjoy the fruits of your labor. We go at the end of the year, usually around December, near the end of the football season. And you've got to have a goal in mind. You can't do this every day without having some type of reward. Real quick, we were flying to Maui years ago, coach, and we get up to the ticket counter, and it says first class upgrade, $150. I said, hey, let's check out this first class stuff. So, okay, $150 a ticket. We fly first class, and now my wife will never fly coach again to Maui. So first class tickets cost more. That's another reason why I almost have to win during the football season so I could afford these first class tickets that my wife now insists on using instead of flying coach. So at the end of the year, man, reward yourself. Take your winnings. Do something with it. Go on a trip. Buy a TV. Buy a car. Buy whatever. Buy some concert tickets. I don't care what it is. But you have to have an end game. You have to reward yourself for all of the work you put in. Of course, that's assuming you win, which is what we're going to do. So I mentioned my distribution list, man. I want to give us a quick shout to the guys that have been with me from the beginning. Q, my boy, NorCal, Stockton, Mike in Michigan. Mike used to play football for the Chippewas. And whenever we take a tough beat in any sport, I know within 3 seconds Mike is going to text me and say, what the fuck happened? Why does this keep happening? And Mike's going to flip out, and I'm going to text him back and talk him off the ledge. And we're going to move on. But Mike is a real good dude. Donnie, Scott, Andrew, Mike, Del Peasy, Dean, my boy Dean, was in a hole, texted me, Biz, I need your help. And I helped him get out of a big hole. And Dean is one of my staunchest supporters of the work that I do. And of course, this guy, next guy, had to give a special page out to Florida Pete, my guy in Florida. We talk constantly. We've never met. I've known him for several years, and we've never met. We're going to meet at some point, but we met through a mutual friend online. We both had a guy that was handicapping sports, and that's a story in itself. But Pete and I met through this guy, and we talk often about all kinds of stuff. And he's one of the best dudes you could ever know, and I've never even seen the guy, but I feel like I've known him for years. So that is that for the information you need for what we're doing this year. Now, I'm going to upload these to YouTube. If you want to be notified when the weekly video is ready, shoot me an email at the address there, biz112763@gmail.com. If you want to be on my daily list of plays, you can do the same thing. If you have any ideas for a system, email me what you think, and I'll run it. It could be, hey, Biz, what do you think of a team that, was a home favorite, and last week they lost by 15, and they scored so many points, or whatever. Ask me, and I will run it. On the Killer Sports website, they have a ton of filters that you can use. Third down conversions, penalty yards, turnovers, previous games, season averages, all kinds of stuff. Whatever pops in your mind, whatever it is, send me an email. I'll run it. Maybe I'll kind of work with it, kind of tweak a few things. But if you have any ideas, send them to me, and we'll go from there. All right, everybody, that's the end of this. Week 1, I will have a video out for each sport. Look for that. If you want to be like I said, if you want to be notified when it's out, email me, and I'll let you know as soon as it's ready to go. All right, everybody, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to me. Looking forward to an absolutely phenomenal football season. Again, those of you that have been with me know that is one of our best sports, and look forward to another winning season. All right, guys, have a great day. I'll see you in a few weeks for the opening weeks of the college and NFL season.